what makes the Hoenn region so cozy? Secret bases, until some little creep from Moss Deep City somehow knows where you live. Secret bases are one of my favorite features throughout the hundreds of hours I invested into playing Pokemon Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire. Yes, all three of them, especially Emerald. When Auras was announced, I was so ready to relive my cozy secret base, and I was so happy when they added more decorations. Decorating your secret base is peak gameplay. It was major news to me after finding out how Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl handled their underground secret bases. I was beyond disappointed. I will be recreating these iconic bases into paper doll rooms into 6 sections, considering that there are 6 different sprite colors and textures depending on where you use TM43 secret power. Before you say actually, I stopped playing Pokemon after Generation 6, and apparently it's now TM94. I bought this 12-inch by 12-inch paper pad a while back when I made the time to make photo albums. Now I actually don't like these patterns, so they will serve as scrap paper. I folded 4 sections of 6-inch by 6-inch squares into a scene. Now I made 6 scenes, glued them together to create this structure. I'm creating a 6-panel star book. Here's my dummy book, or my sketch for my paper doll bases. It's a great way to test out my folds and designs before I start wasting my time on figuring out what actually works or not. For not having a dummy book, I learned the hard way from my previous video when I didn't have a clear picture of what design approach I was going for. I wasted a lot of time and I was really mad at myself. The goal is to have each room with different color schemes and textures. One of the challenges is that I have a treehouse room and a shrub room that look similar to each other, so I'll try to make sure they look different. Besides the treehouse and shrubs, I have a red rock cave, a blue one, a yellow one, and a grayish brown one. Creating a paper doll room demands square or parallelogram folds, so when I turn the page, everything will fold up in an effortless manner. Thanks to Cerebi and Bulbapedia, they managed to have the sprite list for all the furniture pieces. I didn't paint them all because I have to consider proportions and how much space each furniture piece takes up. You know you're the real one if you know which video I used for this piece of scrap artist watercolor paper. I want to make most of my paper. I have a vending machine, a table. I haven't decided yet on which pattern I want for this table. I want to paint the red and blue tents. I always pick the blue one because it's my favorite color after all. Off camera, I painted a large majority of the rugs, posters, plushies, and cushions. I did wish I painted more of the Final Evolution plushies, but I opted out due to spacing. While doing my research, I learned that the posters and auras took on a different design compared to the original Gen 3. So I stuck with the originals initially. Oh, we're just getting started. Let's paint some furniture. I usually paint off camera to save some footage and editing time. Plus, I move around my artwork so much that there were times that I wasn't paying attention to my camera, and I noticed that my work shifted off screen the whole time. While I wait for some pieces to dry, I paint the other ones and bounce around. Boom! Time management. The last 5 squares didn't make the cut because the colors are too smudgy and I can't erase any of the graphite sketch. I finished one of my tents. Well, not really. They just need one more layer so the colors don't look so pale. Next, I'll paint the 3 primary brick shelves. Using the putty eraser is much more gentle while getting rid of light pencil sketches. If I scrubbed pretty hard, then the colors will smear and fade. I finished prepping the vegetables. Let's give them a nice slice. My back, hands, and wrists are ready for the long journey towards the end of Victory Road. It's common practice for me to overtrain so I can bulldoze the trainers, the Elite Four, and at least be equal to the champion. Cutting curves was a bit challenging, especially after cutting so much square-shaped furniture. I want to bite all of them all of a sudden. I still have a lot of furniture to paint, so let's slather some lemon yellow paint as a base layer. Due to my limited time during the weekdays, it took a few days to paint them all. On weekends, on the other hand, I paint very long hours. I thought I was done with painting all the decorations, but I still have plenty more to go. I have to be a square to make squares. This keeps all decorations proportional to each other. Sheet number 2. We have an assortment of plushies, various objects, and flags. Spoiler alert, I didn't get to use the Stun Fisk mat only because at the time I didn't know which base I would like to put it in. And plus, I actually don't like it. Sorry to all the Stun Fisk fans. Although the inventory is not completely available, I still have plenty of options to pick from and decorate. These 4 panel square strips are chairs, and the rest here are tables and appliances. All 6 rooms are ready to be decorated. Yay! Finally! I'm surprised to not have a paper cut after scooping up all the scraps. No need to drop that security deposit or worry about the landlord special because we're squatting over here. Using my scary dentist tweezers made the move-in much easier. I folded the spike rug in half so it could fit in the middle fold or the goalie. Smear some glue, blot, and tap away. Make sure everything is pressed down in all directions. I don't want a loose floating rug. Otherwise, the glue will stick and dry onto the wrong places. I can carry a brick table with 2 fingers and a tweezer. Let's fold it up and move it against the wall. The key part of decorating is picking what you like, and I do consider color theory. I wasn't too concerned if something was mismatched. When you earn the red or blue tent in the trick house on Route 110, this quickly became my favorite decoration. I was like, did I move up in the tax bracket? Why do I have to pick between red or blue? Why do I have to pick between Latias and Latios? Can I have them both, please? Next on cribs, we have a tree house to decorate. Let's place the rough desk over here. It's not the square log table, in case you were wondering. I want to keep my bare hands off my artwork as much as I can, so I use scrap paper to press down on the glue and secure the pieces. Next time, I have to be careful with how much glue I use. Otherwise, I'm not able to clean up this puddle over here in aisle 3. Why 3? Because this is Gen 3. Okay, I'm having too much fun. I'll have the Pikachu and Pichu bros stare at me from this wall. The yellow brick dresser looks good over there. It does match with the rug and the poster. I didn't finish decorating a base in one sitting at a time. I bounced between bases so I could see which decoration suits best. Plus, it helps me be less indecisive. I realized that I still need to add more furniture, so I had to go back to painting some more. Right after my shifts in my day job, I come home to paint as much as I can, as long as my schedule allows me to. I added more plushies, wall decorations, and more miscellaneous items like the slide and a bed. If you didn't catch that, I have a square tire. Just go with the program. Quick tangent. I was asked by a friend if painting is a relaxing activity. I said, no, not at all, since I treat it like a job and I have to constantly improve my skills. Is it fun? Yes, of course, but it doesn't soothe my nerves or my mind. I was constantly on edge during art school in my college years, and if my peers or my professor doesn't see any improvement, then I'm someone who doesn't take art seriously. Luckily now, I make art on my own terms and I work on my own pace. I still treat it more than just a hobby. The art entertainment industry is pretty cutthroat, and that would be a future video for me to talk about. Oh my gosh, another thing to add to the backlog. After speedrunning through these paintings, I'm back at the chopping block once again. My second medium of choice after watercolor is color pencils. Color pencils and watercolor is my favorite combo. Color pencils definitely add more depth and texture on top of flat washes. Gotta reuse as much Arches paper as I can. Seriously, this stuff is expensive. I drew individual leaves to fill up the sheet, then I carved them out. This took a good hour or so. Like a surgeon with tweezers on one hand and an adhesive on the other hand, I picked individual leaves and glued them all over the base. This process took a good hour or 2. I know I mentioned I was a dentist earlier, but I got promoted to a surgeon. The paper already has texture, but the color pencils help refine them more. The colored paper I used for this project is from a brand called Park Lane. I got them from Joann's a while back. Joann's unfortunately closed, and I will have to get them through Michael's, Amazon, or any other secondhand store like the thrift store. Let's give this wall a more rocky, sandy appearance. I focus on different shapes and line weights for each case so they have their own look. After a few days of adding texture, polishing, and removing glue strings, we're still not done yet. I will have to flatten all of these rooms and glue them together. Before I make any major mistakes, here's my front cover and my back cover. I have some leftover chipboard laying around, so I'll cut a pair of 6" by 6" pieces. This is when I have to trust the process. Take a deep breath. This better work. I did watch several videos of how people glue their pop-up book together, so I won't second guess myself. The goal is to make sure that their spines line up together so the star is evenly intact. Plus the glue has to dry, so waiting in between placements is key. I need to be patient on this. Otherwise the papers will start sliding around, messing with the alignment, and we're gonna have a very wonky book. By the way, the UHU glue brand is handy and does its job. If you squeeze too hard, glue will leak and drip. Throughout this project, there was usually a pool of dry, wettish glue on my work desk, and I wasted so much glue. So don't Hulk squeeze this particular glue tube. I had to really baby this book. I'm giving it a nice massage. I added my sketchbook on top to hold it down in place, but off camera, I used several heavy books from my bookshelf to weigh it down for 2 to 3 days. This is where I had the most trouble coming up with cover designs. I think every graphic designer is gonna get mad at me for this. I get it. I did want something simple, and I wanted to represent secret power and the flags since the game featured Capture the Flag. As you can see, I need to practice more with my measuring. My bad, once again. I know my covers look more like sisters, not twins, but this is close enough. I don't want to see any brown from the chipboard, so I cut out a large enough square to hide the bald spot. Front cover is on the left and the back cover is on the right. In auras, if you enter a secret base, you'll see a flag with the player's name. On the right, apparently, that artwork sprite is from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. Oopsies. But hey, that's a Mystery Dungeon representation right there. I have a lot of videos coming up for you guys, so I'm excited to make those. In my earlier projects, I never added strings or ribbons because I didn't care enough to do so, nor did I have any. Or I realized at the end of the project, after gluing the covers, I should have added strings so I could close my book properly. This was a messy application, but it will be covered at the end of the day, so let it dry and it'll stick. Don't worry, I'll hide the ugly glue job. First things first, I want to make sure that nothing is upside down, and I have to be careful with the negative spaces that are carved out. I don't want any glue leaks. Next, I give a slam dunk on the front cover with a clean scrap paper so I can properly bond with the first page, and I do the same thing on the other side. Here's my sandwich. Let's see if the seatbelts are fastened. There will be some floating pieces of paper that still need some extra glue. Luckily, you guys don't smell the book through your screen because it really reeks of glue and rubber. It's not the most pleasant. Don't breathe in this stuff. I shortened the string so I could tie them together into a sleeker, more secure bow. Ta-da! Here's the front cover! My only critique is that the title could have stayed in one line instead of having an awkward word just hanging out alone at the lunch table. And it's really awkward just sitting there. My typography needs some serious help. Graphic design is not my passion, although that's not an excuse. Let's not waste time moping over my graphic design. Let's check out the open house. We have a big day to tour 6 secret bases. Yee! Seeing the book fan out into a proper star book felt the most rewarding to see. Looking back at my past gameplays, I usually settled in a treehouse or a shrub. The goalie, or the fold in the middle, will go up without putting my finger down. I play Sculpin and Duskull to snuggle up in the tent. Only in my dreams did I receive a regional reward for completing the regional Pokédex. Yes, I'm a local here in Hoenn. You're welcome. Adding the individual leaves give a more organic feel to the base to make it feel like you're really hiding in the shrub, and it feels more realistic that way. Everything is intentional, especially the placement of the Survivor poster, the brick table, and the red tent. They contrast really well with the green shrubbery. During the dark, stormy nights, I have my little candle next to my laptop so I could do my research or store Pokemon into my PC on my brick desk. My chair is not the most comfy, but it does the job. I could definitely see myself having multiple sleepovers in this place. Using secret power once again at a treehouse, let's visit home number 2. The one thing I would improve if I could go back to my work is I could have drawn rows of logs on the floor to show that the secret base is in a tree. It could be confusing, if not it already is, if the first page is a shrub or this page is the treehouse. Instead, I gave it an Animal Crossing-esque pattern consisting of brown tiny shapes. This secret base feels just as cozy as the previous one, and it does feel like a school kid would live in here. We have the chalkboard and of course a laptop with a desk, and they have a globe to communicate with other players around the world. A lot of school kids I know really love Pikachu and Pichu, especially Pikachu, so it makes sense that a more younger kid could hang out in this particular secret base. I really love that chair. I could have made that chair a little bit smaller, but that's okay. As we continue the tour, share your thoughts on what kind of player or what kind of trainer would live in these secret bases. How would you decorate it? I would love to hear it. I won't be surprised if someone says that a serial killer lived in one of those secret bases. I transformed this red rock cave into a girly one. This base has an adorable polka dot blue bed with a piplup rug, so we're having a comfy princess treatment. Maybe this is how Dawn from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl could have decorated a secret base if she ever has one. Too bad she had to stick with statues in the newer games. In the corner, we have a cute skitty TV, which is one of my personal favorite decorations, surrounded by more plushies and cushions. This room screams, I play a ton of fashion and dress-up games, and you know what? This player has great taste. It may not be the most comfortable because it is a rocky cave, and we will need a ton of rugs and cushions to make this place a lot more softer on the edge. I imagine a lot of sleepovers in this place, and make sure to bring a ton of snacks. Lastly, you don't want to trip and fall in this secret base. Hopefully you land on a comfy mat or pillow or cushion. Did you already lose track of what base we're on already? No worries, because we're at number 4. As much as I would love to hear the ocean waves from the inside and live near the coast, I wasn't a fan of the yellow sandy caves because sand gets in everywhere. Don't get me wrong, the desert is cool, but it's not for me. Well, might as well wear your shoes in the house at this point. But this place is still very snug to stay at. We have a quirky cube with a tropical plant on top to add some green here, along with a chikorita plush, a leaf green cushion, and really adorable flowers on top of the brick. Adding the tent in this cave definitely feels much more adventurous, and there's a sense of warmth and safety in here. Oh, hello! Someone's watching. Are you going to pay for that? We're making our second to last stop, a brown-gray cave located somewhere in the mountains near Fallerboard Town and Meteor Falls. When you visit Lana's home in Route 114, it's cluttered with stacks of boxes and paperwork because she's so immersed with her work. I don't blame her for being embarrassed about it because I feel the same way with my office and having all of my art supplies and camera gear scattered around. This secret base does feel more like a tiny study lab and someone who works long hours into their research. I did take some influence from the fiery path in regards of the fire-themed items in here. It really does feel like a cave miner can hang out in here for sure. The Relicanth, being a rock-type Pokemon, does blend in. Also, you might want to watch your step. Stepping on the pitfall mat will make you stuck. Pretty on theme if you ask me. Woo! Final stop! The Blue Cave. This one feels more like a break room from all the traveling and yapping I've been doing. So there are some things that need improvement. On the left side of the room, it's a slide, but it does not expand out to properly look like one. On the right, my orange vending machine is blocking the flat screen TV on top, and it's not glued properly, so I didn't fold it correctly. The orange and brown jukebox and the orange vending machine contrast really well with the blue cave. They are complementaries after all. This is a chill base where you can hang out, have a nice soda pop or lemonade while watching TV or listening to your favorite tunes. The plushies serve as your emotional support from the stresses of being a Pokemon trainer. Or if you're a normal adult with a classic 9-to-5 job, this will be your healing spot too. Hey, no shame in having one. Stability is all that matters. I have it really good, thankfully. I intended to make the secret base also like a fun room because there's a bunch of fun mats that you could step on. Besides being the chill room, it's also the fun house. I mean, look at all these mats that you could step on. Also, we worship Pico in this room. Woo! The tour is over! I need a water break because I'm about to lose my voice. As much as I wanted to add more non-game canon decorations like banners or shelving, I want to stay faithful to the games. I felt like I missed out on the experiences of receiving items as well as mixing records in both the original games and auras. I heard stories of people fighting teams of Blissies so they could have more convenient ways to grind and level up their teams. I bet those 3DS QR codes still work, but that's still up to me to find out. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun exploring this particular concept of book art. Personally, it's really tough to balance a full-time job, relationships, and my health with YouTube, but regardless, I love making videos and I want to keep on going. I don't want to give up on this. Bye guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy decorating! Not you, Pokemon BDSP. No one cares about your crappy statues in the underground. Where in the distortion world can I get and place my bookshelf and my pretty flowers? That's right, nowhere. So shut up, you're not the better remake.